Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Option Series live stream this week. We have a really wonderful program for you today, featuring the great saxophonist Audrey Lauro, who's tuning in with us live from Brussels, Belgium. I'm really excited to hear Audrey's performances that she's sent us. She's one of my favorite players that I've encountered over the years. And before we get right into the very first piece, I just wanted to see, Audrey, if you wanted to provide our viewers with a little bit of context for this first solo piece and maybe set up this first clip for us.
So the first clip is called In Situ. It's the title of the series. So we have 3 In Situ. And it means like it's really done in a certain place and will not do it again. So it's done in my saloon. And the first piece is like long breathing with some development and accident and spontaneous development as well. So this is, in a few words, what I can say about it, and just let you discover this long breath on the saxophone.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, without any further ado, let's get into In Situ 1. All right, welcome back. A really fantastic first piece of that series, Audrey. It was such a joy to hear. I wanted to first ask you to maybe relay some early musical experiences, or maybe a pivotal moment where you felt like free music or improvisation was something that you really wanted to focus on and get into in a very deep way. Just or any musical memory you can relay that was really impactful to you.
Yeah, actually, from the early beginning when I started to play saxophone, actually, and it's my main instrument, and I really didn't play some other instruments before. And I always had the need to really to improvise, I should say simply. And as soon as in life the opportunity to really focus on this and to do your way with this aspect of the music at your side, like a friend, I really take this opportunity because I straight away felt that it's something that I'm gonna feel at my place, and it's warm for me. I mean, in a way, and I felt straight away doing this feeling of home. I don't know, but and so this choice came very early. So I took every possibility that was possible to take to have the opportunity to know more, to discover more, and to learn the music by that direction, that way. So this is,
Absolutely.
I don't know if I understood properly this question and answered on purpose, but
no, that's absolutely perfect. Yeah, I think that deep relationship and comfort and connection with free music is really easy to see in your playing because there's such an amazing patience and clarity in how you approach it. And that was something that really struck me in that first clip, was just your ability to kind of just experience time and sit in that moment and be super present, which is just absolutely amazing to witness in these clips. I know that there was a question in the chat from Ken. Ken is always anticipating all of my questions. A quick reminder to the folks in the chat who are viewing right now, feel free to drop any questions you may have for Audrey in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to as many as we can before the end of the performance. But Ken's question was about developing and exploring new vocabulary on the instrument. And just, I was wondering if you could talk about your process in developing new techniques sonically on the instrument, how a technique goes from a sound in your head to something that is moving air in the room that you're playing.
Mm-hmm. From where I'm going to start, I think that the vocabulary and language is something very important to me, and I think to all musicians, better to take really the time to think about what is a language, what is your language, and how you're gonna assimilate like a grammar, like like how you found your functional way in the sound, how you found functionalities, logical things, how you learn repertoire, vocabulary in general, and how you digest it, and you are logically creating something that it's going to become your language. So for the sounding aspect and the sound things, it's also a question of language, but it's also related to the body. And to me, I really started I started to accept everything that could happen with this instrument, and really stick to that and develop that and be really clear what is to me a development. What is to me the organization of a speech? What is my personal point of view of every logical territory in a language? How I can feel the speech, the punctuation, how I can feel what is the texture, really how can I technically can stick to an idea, but also I let talk the body. So it's a compromise between like really focused on your gesture vocabulary, because I realize that after using certain techniques, some others straight away happens and it become a tic. But I didn't reject that. I think it has to be accepted in a way, because it's the way you naturally answers to a proposition you've done. And so to really construct something with this, but it's also like practicing these kind of things, and having exploring different moments and different emotions, I should say, but sometimes it's just the feeling of a presence somewhere instead of maybe emotion. Emotion is very strong. Sometimes it's just being there and really focus on something and stay.
Absolutely. I love the way that you framed it as a language thing, right? Because language is not just assorting, completely random sounds together and hoping that someone receives the message that you're sending, but really intentionally assembling language and vocabulary together to express whether it's an emotion or just a time and a place and a presence, like you said. That was just all so unbelievably clear in that very first piece we saw of just not only to me with the techniques such a control and a strength to get right to the center of what you wanted out of that sound, and also to sequence them in a way that was completely just so distinct and coherent and beautiful to witness. So it's so unbelievably clear, all of those approaches to language that you have just viewing your playing. I always think about, if you're hearing someone speak in a language that you might not personally be familiar with or fluent in, but you can still pick up on. I think it's a gestural thing, like you mentioned, but being able to still receive something and receive some level of expression from that, even if you don't, have a full understanding of every single word that may have been communicated in a sentence of this language you may not be super familiar with, but still receiving that, uh, that message on another level just from being able to see the clarity and the organization of those sounds. So I just really appreciated hearing that piece and hearing your description of that. Let's maybe jump right into the second piece in this series, in SITU 2, and then we'll be right back with Audrey Lauro in a couple minutes. Thanks everyone for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Option Series here with Audrey Lauro in Brussels. To continue our discussion here, I know there was a question in the chat from my co-curator, Tim Daisy, asking if you could talk about your influences outside of the world of sound, whether it's visual media like film or literature, and maybe how those influences affect your sound making process.
Yeah, it's first of all an important influence to me, and I think I was straight away in front of a lot of visuals as in my childhood. I mean, my father is a painter, so it's an influence like straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost grew up in the atelier. So I think and it was a silent obligation when my father was working. So I think that needed of breaking this was a necessity. I don't know, or I mean, it allows me to go somewhere else. And so I realize how much these pictures and these sculptures and this specific aesthetic, how strong it influences me also in conceptually. So to me, first is visual. I mean, I really, I'm really into that, and I think sound is always related to that. I mean, but my first input is something I realized that lately. I mean, you want to be totally in your sound, surrounding, inside, totally like sound. No, but actually, I realized that my logic is also depending on visual things and abstract things. And after that came really a passion. I don't know, but I have like kind of a bulimic consummation of films. Sometimes it's I need that more than music. Yes, everything. I mean, music is also. I mean, it's also like the band original of something. It's. Yeah, I have always my inner film in it. It's
absolutely
is that. So and sometimes it's really fluent between me and the people in front. What do we have a common film? But I'm very happy if each of us are in something. Even of course it will be different, or sometimes you have connections. But I was thinking, like, also I was very happy to do these captations for specifically for option. Because actually the piece is the film, and also the way of the person who did the captation, the montage. I didn't want to do any, I want that and not that. No, I really let myself in the hand of that person and with his look on something that he doesn't know. And I wouldn't have done some choices that he did, but I really respect that, because I'm also interested in this to see how it is. Like I don't decide like it's a common work, and I accept different point of view. And I mean, if I was like behind, okay, the sound should be like this, and I wanted this clear montage, it would be something that I want to control. And because of visuals are so important to me, and I'm so open to different proposition and curious about it, I let it totally open. So I think like also to answer that the film is the piece is also to answer the question I was asked about that. And of course, I'm really like in French we say éponge. I don't know in English, but you know, like you absorb everything, and I feel that everything I read, everything I look, I'm gonna think that long time. I mean,
Absolutely.
it stays too much, and sometimes I'm just monomaniac on some ideas or details or some thing that I read. Or sometimes I just read 2-3 lines, and it's really okay. I have enough, or I don't I see not a movie but a part of it, and I have enough to digest. I mean, it's
Absolutely. I think this is also guiding me right towards a question that I wanted to ask you, especially with the kind of filmic approach of these pieces, how the temporal aspect of your approach, how you experience time, right, as a kind of unchangeable dimension of anybody's work, right? Especially with music and especially with film, which are, media that have to kind of unfold over a period of time, no matter what, right? It's happening in 4 dimensions. So I think that it's clear that you have a presence of mind about that, because I can tell your patience and also your comfort level with just silence and letting time elapse and then coming back into a gesture or a phrase. Could you talk just a little bit about and particularly with solo playing, because that's what we've seen so far today, your relationship with time and how you experience pacing or density with regards to this kind of other dimension that we have no control over.
Yeah. So I really focused for a long time on solo thing, and I really like some format of time. I mean, how I experience the timing, of this. Like I present here short. I mean, it's extract, and but if I'm playing like solo, of course it's gonna be really longer. It could be really structured or really floating, but in a way also like it's refining some ways. I mean, it's playing with memory and be light with this and really like controlling it and really make your memory surprising you. And so music, I mean, when I was playing, I was totally imagining that the film could have another timing. And I was a little bit worried that the timing of the film would interrupt, and I was interrupt or do a counterpoint that couldn't control of the timing of the music. Which is actually the case. I mean, I can't control that, but I kind of like that it's not in my hand anymore. It's also a different point of view. So, but to me, like if the sound is really what you wanted to, I mean, if you are really centered, timing is by itself giving his direction. I mean, but it's a difficult thing to feel, because sometimes you out of the music and you're gonna speed up things that are taking really time, and I think you lose clarity as well. And so it's really important to also, to me, I realized that I was also having an overview of what I'm doing, even if I am present at a moment. It's not a question of calculation or following any structure, but there is a structure, like you can feel it if you are like a tree and feeling the wind. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, I don't know, but things are happening by themselves also a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think for me personally with solo playing, that's always the challenge, right? Is when you're or at least when you feel like you're solely responsible for creating the sound and creating the form of what's happening, I find my brain speeding up very rapidly because my perception of time is like, oh my goodness, there was some silence there. Why am I not playing? I need to play more, right? And pushing through that wall and being able to understand that you can slow down and just kind of like a tree feeling the breeze, just kind of let the time happen for itself and fill what you can fill, and also create the space for, you know, those forms that you create to have clarity and strength by themselves.
Yes, yes. And also, it's also a game to play with this kind of meditative in brackets, and also to play with volonté, like to really push it, like, okay, now I really cut these floating things with something incisive, and I'm going to construct something with this. So you can also play with the different level of wanting, or, you know, like provoke control, different level of control, and provocating the things, like put the things and really control them, or and force them, even like to really play with yourself, like with breaking your concentration sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's something, yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Fantastic. Well, let's view the third installment of this series of solo pieces, in situ 3, and we'll be back with Audrey Lauro in a couple moments. All right, welcome back with Audrey Lauro. I maybe wanted to piggyback on my last question or continue our discussion about time a little bit in terms of the trio pieces that are coming up and how your approach to manipulating time or how you view your approach to using time alters itself when you're playing with other people and you're not solely responsible for the sound being created in the space you're in, right? When you're sharing that responsibility with others, how does that approach change for you?
Yeah, it changes a lot in a certain way, but there are also stable things. But it's, I mean, playing together, it's a coexistence of three people playing. You play with or not really with, I mean, you have your idea about that, but it coexists.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes in this coexistence, we can really also focus on details of these three or more musicians, but playing together. But this is details on the possible, like the personal spheres are sometimes crossing if you push them, or staying really apart and really focused in the details when it's in which way it's gonna meet. So it's really focused on details, the way, what is really an interaction, at what level of, what is interact, I mean, at what level of question you ask yourself or you play, I mean. And so, of course, you have respond like they are stimulus, like they are reflex. And it's also cool. I mean, it's also possible to play with reflex, and it's also to to let them go, or just a little bit like delay, or just a little bit keeping in your memory, and it gives a possibility of a new proposition. Or you can also so timing is really constructs on the different level of communication, and yeah, because communication is something you want, coexist is something it is, so you have to play with this to really find a balance between these two.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So,
I think one thing that was maybe absent from some of my questions today was also understanding that there's not always going to be one approach to these things, right? So you might have a common way of conceiving of these things for yourself when you're playing, but I think what you've shown us a lot today and reminded us of is that, you know, there's part of this always is also subverting those expectations of how you are going to approach something, perhaps in a dominant fashion, or kind of, especially playing with others, receiving what they're giving at a certain point, and then maybe rising to dictate a little bit more, and also, you know, occasionally, perhaps decidedly not ignoring, but
yeah.
going in another direction and being completely independent in a moment. And I guess in some of my questions today, I haven't fully really expressed how so much of this is malleable, and there's such an important flexibility in approaching these different possibilities when you're playing. So maybe could you talk a little bit more about that kind of aspect of the malleability of all of these different things, how you can really assert yourself in one moment and then maybe, you know, treat things differently in another moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's really something that you feel more than you're gonna think, and also, but I mean, it's really a mix of the two process, and I mean, it's different level of consciousness. I don't know, but it's sometimes it's also really important to say to construct separate bubbles, and to trust them that they're gonna communicate without you forcing them to. So sometimes I'm really okay. I stay on my things because it's a permeable. It's a, you know, it's gonna it's gonna be together with the rest, and in a way, I realized that it's something that I do to really stay on the boat. I mean, and really trust what can happen, input, or sometimes three dialogues, that's three monologues, or three thoughts that I want to be together, but they can't. I mean, also you can imagine a lot of things around that. But sometimes also you are into your thought, but the way it sounds, it's so far of what you were feeling, or what you were, you know, the story you had inside. So it's also sometimes to have this external ear also, and to really maybe be less romantic and say, okay, I want things sounds also that way. So sometimes you quit a little bit this feeling perception, and do really, well, okay, I have the impression that the music should go in that direction, so I'm going to push it. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if I don't know if it was clear.
No, yeah, I just wanted to kind of bounce some ideas around and hear, you know, the way that you experience those things and how you approach them. Could you give us a little bit of context for this trio piece that we're about to hear?
Oh, yeah, I can. We call this tune, I mean, this piece, kitchen at the beginning. So it was really like kitchen, like throwing things. And we stay in this idea of kitchen, and it became électroménager, électroménager. And so the idea of this piece is really the energy, control the energy, pushing a lot and try to control it, even if it escapes you, you know. So, but also to me, I was like, okay, my timing will be the breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that I felt that, and I'm gonna jump on everything I find in my way. And I think we were in the three of in that mood. And also it has a lot of reference, I think. I mean, I don't know, it's instrumental things. I mean, it's the way we play also with this energy. And I was finding also after presenting solo things really inside, really close to have a certain closeness. That was the idea of in situ. Like we change decor, we have something with color, we have something with we have something else, another energy, and really this obvious dialogue.
Absolutely. And who's joining you in this trio that we're about to see?
So this trio is Pakian Lo on prepared piano and different objects, and Yuko Oshima, she's playing percussions, drums, and also in the project Sampler, like she worked on my sound, and and myself. And we are also, I choose it because we are also really close friends.
Mm-hmm.
We playing together for 10 years with a lot of moment of pause, which is also, I find it warm in a project like where sometimes it's pause and it can stay years. And we continue, where we let the discussion, and it's 2 years after, but the project stayed. And also we are now having we recorded, we did a residency, and in this very beautiful place, Walter, in Brussels, that they host us in residency and produce the video. So big thank you to them for giving this push to this project. Anyway.
Fantastic. Well, let's view this trio, piece Kitchen, and we'll be right back with Audrey Lauro.
Okay.
Welcome back. Had to take myself off mute for a moment, as we all do from time to time in this new world. Back with Audrey Lauro here. I wanted to keep this last conversation segment a little shorter because we're almost at the top of the hour here. But I did want to take one more question from the chat here from Jeff Guy, asking if Audrey can comment on her large-scale or architectural concept when playing solo, and if you plan your ideas ahead of time, or if it's more an in-the-moment experience with that.
It's a mix of both, but I have also like schemas. I mean, like, yes, I have architectures like the purpose global will be that. So that could be also a direction, but it's I really feel the compromise. Like, if I am comfortable with the direction, I will be comfortable. I will feel myself floating and be there peacefully. But yes, this is that way. Like, if I know where I'm going, so it will give me the comfort, really, also.
Fantastic. So the last piece that we have today, I know, is a duo piece, and it's a short film clip of your playing in duo with Giotis Demianides. And you have a new record that came out recently of this duo. Is that correct?
Yes. This is the Dark Ballads.
Mm-hmm.
The record is called Dark Ballads, and each song, each piece is the name of a mineral stone. So obsidian is the dark one, and you've got different ones. Almandin is the red one, is red. So, and the video we're going to see now is a little film, which is, we realized, like, something that go with Dark Ballads, the equivalent visually was film noir.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our perception of film noir, which kind of lightness and absurdity. So it's an absurd little film noir. I don't know. Or this is ambiance a little bit, and it's really like. And for me, it was coherent also after, like the trio video is to share the energy and the obsidian, and to see this little cinematographic work is also to take really a distance also, and we are not playing anymore. We're just there. You're going to see.
I really love the way in this clip the ideas that you're working with light and shadow and darkness really are expressed in the film, and I think the film noir element of it is very enjoyable to experience. So I'm really looking forward to viewing this last clip. But really quickly, I just wanted to thank you, Audrey, for joining us today and just sharing your work with us and chatting with me. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Next week, we are going to have Vasco Tria on the series, who will be sharing some of their work and talking with Tim Daisy, my co-curator. So I just wanted to really quickly shout out Ken and Tim, who booked the series with me, and also Experimental Sound Studio for providing this platform for us. But just one more time, really thankful for Audrey for joining us today. And it's just always a joy to see and speak with you and hear you play. So just thank you, Audrey. And with that, let's... You're very, very welcome. Let's view Obsidian.